Hey, everybody, it's Wednesday. Grab your goat, plural perhaps. Grab a really big drink this week because it is time for the Witches Movie Coven. Yes, witches, talking about witches in movies. Now, we were going to do Poltergeist this week, but it's been a kind of a crazy week, and we were all in kind of a weird mood and space. So we decided we'd just throw that to the wind or to next week and instead talk about some of our feel good movies. Each of us bringing in our favorite feel good when you don't having a good day kind of movie. So, my name is Patti Negri. I am one of your hosts. You might know me from my regular podcast, The Witching Hour, or from Ghost Adventures, or lots of other things. I'll tell you right now, my favorite movie, feel good movie, is Barbie, of course. So let's move this over to Richard Leal.
Hello, I am Richard Leal. It's one name, not two. If I were Richard, I would be a. Yes. I am known as the Gentleman Psychic. I am also known on Ghost Adventures and from University Magicus. And I am known here in New Orleans as the Gentleman Psychic. And I do readings here in my home as well as for Apothecary downtown in the French Quarter. I am a little bit of everywhere, and I'm not going to tell you my favorite movie until we come back around.
It's a secret. Jason.
I'm Jason Mankey. I write a lot of books for Llewellyn. I've written 10 Llewellyn books. That 10th one will be out in May of next year.
Wow, that's amazing to me. All right, Courtney.
That's me. I'm Courtney Buckley, Ghost Bait on Scared and Alone. And I am furious and will be hexing so many people. I'm going to be very busy.
Wait, and last and never least, Heather Green.
Hi, I am Heather Green. I am an author. I am the author of Light Camera Witchcraft right here. I'm going to grab my copy. And it is movies and it's witches in movies and television. I am also a journalist covering all things occult, as well as a editor at Llewellyn, working with many witchy authors similar to Jason. And Patti.
And me. Yes. My new book coming out next year is now available for pre-order.
Woohoo!
Yay! Craft Guide to Haunted Doll, Witch's Guide to Puppet Magic and Haunted Dolls. Pre-order. Yes. Anyway, so I don't. This is new. We're just kind of jumping right in. So who wants to go first?
You go first. You were talking about Barbie movie. That's your favorite.
I'm the only one who gave away my movie. I though Wicked would have been close. I got a real. Well, I'll go there afterwards. Yeah, Barbie. I am the quintessential forever Barbie fan since the day I was born. I have hundreds. I tried to get rid of some on a recent television show lately. They couldn't do it, really. A couple, but no, I like with taking them back from people because she is the ultimate goddess. She is the ultimate perfect woman. She's withstanded all sorts of criticisms and all sorts of things, but what she lets us know is we can be anything, and women are strong and women are powerful, and I think we need that more than anything. And what I love about the film, besides that it's fun and light and pink, it stays true a little bit to who Barbie is and what she is, that I could do anything. And at the same time, throws everything out the window and allows itself to have a sense of humor about itself. It allows itself to just almost make fun of itself. And at the same time, make you think on occasion here and there. So nothing better than that. Well, except the musical numbers, which are fabulous as well.
I'm just Ken.
Yep.
We have worked some of those words into our family's just regular conversation because my partner's name is Ben, so we tell him often he's Benuff.
Oh.
And he's got some Benergy.
Oh, the Benergy.
He rolls his eyes at us.
Good. He should.
Beautiful. I did not see Barbie when it first came out because I just never get out to the movies. So I think I saw it on an airplane or something the first time, and I just engrossed in it and fell in love. The costumes, the sets, the plastic, fantastic, everything. Oh yeah, the speech that America gives is again, it's funny, it's irreverent, and it makes some beautiful points all the way around. So what could be better? I don't know. Do you guys anybody want to talk about Barbie?
I actually would talk a little bit more about Barbie.
Yes, please.
Yes.
So a lot of people may not know this, but Barbie actually had a cousin before Barbie actually became Barbara. There was a German doll that was used as an adult. She was an adult doll.
Mm-hmm.
And she was supposed to be, she came from a comic strip from the 40s. And she was sort of this blonde, beautiful girl. And she got everything she wanted because she was a blonde, beautiful girl. And so it was not a children's toy, but it was sort of inspired by that doll.
I thought you were going to say that she had a cousin named Richard Lale, and he had this beautiful mustache, and
right,
he was one of the first original figures. That was what I was hoping you were going to say.
Yeah, I would have bought that.
I still have every bit of my Barbies from the day I was born. I have all those ones from the 60s. I have Barbie and Midge and Ken and poor little Alan and Spielberg. and they're as good as the day they were born. Well, except for a couple are missing feet because I think a dog chewed them along the way. But
so do you have a favorite Barbie?
Yeah, Stevie Nicks.
Barbie.
Stevie Nicks Barbie.
Is there a Christy McVie Barbie?
Mm-mm.
Oh, heartbreaking.
And it is not easy to get Stevie Nicks Barbie. You have to pay triple plus whatever. They sold out in about the first 3.5 seconds, but she is fabulous. But all my Barbies are favorite. I like Swarovski, who's almost, and I've got Wicked Barbies. I've got Glinda. Wizard of Oz Barbies. I've got a whole coven worth of Barbies. I've got Goddess Barbies. They make Barbies for every single. I don't know if they know how many styles they have, but I would say it's in the hundreds because she could be anything she wants.
I'm going to tell you my favorite Barbies.
Please.
It's a set, Barbie and Ken, and they are dressed as. I'm almost embarrassed to tell you, they're dressed as.
The Addams Family.
Oh yes, of course.
Of course.
That should have been predictable for it.
That
Shouldn't
is
it have been?
so predictable.
That is good.
Can I add some things about Barbie?
Yes, please.
As many of you know, I am she is. Look at that, gorgeous. As many of you know, I'm a doll fan, just like Patti, and I also am been a Barbie fan since I was very little. I have several of my original Barbies as well as an old Midge, and Midge is her cousin or her friend. I can't remember. My Midge has wigs that come on off and on, which is a little weird, and her sister Skipper. So I've got an old Ken, the interesting thing about Barbie, there's two interesting things to share. Is first, someone put up about the first Barbie of color, or the first doll of color mass produced. But the first Barbie, there was two, and there's actually, if you want to learn about that, it's a fascinating story, and I think Netflix has a documentary out about that right now. So if you're interested in the evolution of Black Barbie, you need to go look at Netflix and find it, because there was one early on, and then there was one that was a cousin, I believe, and then one that was a friend later on. And it took a while. I think the first one was in the late 60s and the next one was early 80s. So that's pretty interesting. But to answer that other question about the first African-American doll, that was way, way, way back. That was probably in the 20s or 30s when they were first doing dolls. So that's a great question. But my other comment about Barbie is that the story of her being created by a woman for girls, because girls needed it's not quite right in the movie. The movie doesn't quite get that story correct, because there were fashion dolls prior to Barbie, but Barbie was the epitome and marketed perfectly. But what's interesting is, for me, is Barbie, along with 3 or 4 other major doll companies, Madame Alexander and Ginny dolls and Nancy Ann's, and a bunch of the dolls that came out from the 30s from the 20s, 30s, 40s into, and they were the most popular dolls girls played with, were all created by women. All of them were manufactured by women, created by them, imagined by them. I mean, you're talking about Madame Alexander dolls, Ginny dolls, Nancy Ann dolls. All of these were made by women in a doll industry that was dominated by men prior. So Barbie is from a long legacy and really took and ran with that. So yeah. So that's just an interesting little Cliff Clavin tidbit that I have for you today.
Beautiful. Thanks.
And I love the movie, and I love the song.
Me too.
And I went into the theater to see it. I wish I was with you, Patty.
Me too. I went to the theater too, and I love the songs, especially it was just so stupid, but Knuff. Like the I am Knuff.
So stupid.
I loved it.
Yes, so that is which I might go watch it tonight, Barbie movie. Because it's just happy and positive and happy ending. All those things I want right now. That's it.
Oh,
right.
Sing along with the Indigo Girls when she was singing in the car.
Yep.
Yes. Wait, this is Flat Black Phillip with the crooked wobbly eyes. But I want you to introduce you to, before we move on, to new Black Phillip. This is one that you guys out there can
That's right.
And you could buy him with Black Phillip bling.
What?
Bling Phillip.
Well,
I want Bling Phillip.
Bling Phillip.
Who doesn't want that? I would share the necklace with him. It's human size too, but they are new besties. He's got a little bit bigger nose. They're both bendable. So this new Black Phillip you can get on, I believe, Mystery Control is where we're going to be able to do. It is the goat of goats, with or without the bling. But who doesn't want the bling? All right, that's enough for our commercial break. And I'm going to be next.
Me. I want to
La.
go. I feel like everybody already knows my answer, obviously.
It's obviously the Witch of the Sea.
It is not the witch. No, it is not the witch that came from the sea. That was traumatic. Thank you so much. Can't wait.
The Muppets Wizard of Oz.
Definitely the Muppets Wizard of Oz. Sure.
Or is it something from the 1970s?
Absolutely. You know what? I'm so excited about tonight because I finally get to talk about something that I like instead of something that makes me crazy. So my favorite movie, my comfort movie at this current moment would be, I actually have 3. The Killing Tree, as we know. Your Highness, which is a good laugh all the time. But the witchiest, and I actually just watched it the other day, is Practical Magic. And I had the delight of being able to, does it involve an animated murderous tree? It does. You know that. I had the absolute delight and pleasure to Twilight. I didn't even think of that. Yeah, Twilight too. My friend had never seen Practical Magic, so I got to watch it with her for the first time, and it was so great. Anytime there was a plot hole, I'm like, no, it's magic. We're not talking about that. We just don't listen to that because it's magic. And by the end, she was like, let's be witches. Like now we have witch day every week, and do tarot cards and fun stuff. And it's been really nice to share that with someone. And then, because that's what it's really about, it's sisterhood, right? And it's that feel good of like, you always have someone there for you, and just being accepted for who you are. And I can't get enough of it, especially during fall time. Jason, stop saying that.
No, I do. I like kind of beat myself up a lot now because I think about it. Like, if it wasn't for me suggesting that we watch that dumb movie, maybe I shouldn't beat myself up because it's made Courtney's life so much brighter.
It really has.
Right?
It brought me the Christmas spirit last year, so I loved it, and I will be rewatching it. And this year, I got boots for my Christmas tree. So, yeah, and a map. I have a map too. So, yeah, and I will be taking notes from the killing tree when it's time to do my hexing. I muted myself. I'll be bringing my
I
my
thought
killing
that
tree
maybe
life.
the gods had hexed and
I
had
did too,
muted
like
you for a second.
silence too.
Yeah. Oh no, they will never silence the killing tree because it is perfection, obviously.
The only thing that could have made the killing tree better is if it was 80 minutes shorter. That would have been really ideal.
Jason,
Oh yeah.
you're dead to me.
I love
Yeah,
you
there
so
you go.
much.
I love you too.
I love you so much, Courtney.
I love you too.
I must say I have nothing to speak to the Killing Tree, but Practical Magic is one of my all-time top, if not the next to Wizard of Oz top movies as well. So very good choice.
Thank you.
Magical. They're so cute.
Also, there's killing and there's hexing and bringing back to life. So
Yeah, it isn't all fluffy.
no, it's not. And I'm a sucker for all that, as we know. So
it has something for everyone in Practical Magic. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, yeah, killing, happiness, margaritas, right? That's Midnight Margarita movie, right?
That's Midnight Margaritas, yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts that I got sucked into when I went to the theater to see it was the Die Hard romantic here. When she does the spell wishing for the guy and then he turns up with his two eyes and then the whole thing, and I was like, oh, that person is always out there for you. that whole romantic thread totally sold me when I saw it in the theaters. Along with the witchy aunts and the house that everybody wants.
I want that house so bad, but also yes, as we know, I'm a closeted romantic. So this movie always gives me that little spark of joy. And when his favorite shape is the star, like, and that just speaks to witchcraft in and of itself too. Is like everything's open for interpretation, so it doesn't, his shield is his star, and it's beautiful, and I love it.
Courtney.
Yes, Rob. Sorry, Richard Lyle. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. I was going to say I have a confession to make.
Mm-hmm.
I've never seen Practical Magic.
Didn't we do this for the podcast?
The coven. Kick him out of the coven.
I know
everyone's lights off.
I don't remember ever watching it. I don't remember ever
this
watching
could have been. This was early. It could have been before Richard Lale was always like a
Okay, excuse me. I'm looking this up right now. Nobody talk to me. I'm gonna mute my thing so you can't hear my keyboard. I'm looking this up right now.
I have never seen it. I have never seen Practical.
Absolutely unacceptable, and we're gonna have to rectify that immediately.
If it makes you feel better, Richard Lale, I had never seen it before we watched it for the show.
Whoa!
It was in the middle of my era of not having any money and not having cable and not being able to go to the movies. So I just missed it and didn't see it until we watched it, 2 years ago.
Oh, I found it.
Excuse.
Well, the interesting thing here is that I was going to say earlier, yes, it is based on the Hoffman series, and there is going to be a prequel, I think, coming soon. I think they're working on something to go before this, and it's going to be interesting. It's one of the most favorite ones. Anytime I do any kind of witchcraft movie thing anywhere, everyone quote this is the one of the ones, probably top 5 of people's list to watch.
This was very early. I just pulled it up. This was very early days, and Richard Lale was not on it.
That's why.
See, I told you I didn't see it.
Well, we have to do it again then.
Put it on
the list.
2025, it's coming.
I think a sequel would be better, and then you would have to see it in an AMC theater, so you could get double the dose of Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Right? And then she could watch herself on the screen in that movie theater she's alone in while she's talking about how AMC makes movies better. This commercial was brought to you by AMC Theaters. Visit AMC.com to find out more about AMC Theaters. We have an AMC theater nearby, and I love that Nicole Kidman thing. And my friend and I, we get up and we recite the thing while it's happening because it's so weird and over the top.
Did you know that they made have you ever seen those Loungefly bags that they make for Disney movies and stuff? There's a whole brand of these little backpacks, and people buy them and bring them to the Disney parks, and they're all movie themed or whatever.
Oh yeah.
So they have one of her suit in that commercial. They should. They do.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
She wears it while she's walking through the rain, and then her umbrella magically disappears when she gets to the theater. It's incredible.
Magic.
Incredible.
We come to this place for magic.
I do not
There's my
do
quote
that.
for the night.
I go to Broadway as soon as we see those jazz hands come out.
All right. Well, thank you. Who wants to go next? Whose feel-good movie?
Heather, you go.
Well, I'm gonna give you guys a hint of what I did, and I'm just gonna do that by introducing my friends.
Mm-hmm.
So clearly, it's a Christmas story.
Yes, it is a Christmas story. I'll raise them up here so you guys can see.
Heather,
them.
I didn't know you loved The Killing Tree that much.
I do. You see that? This is the sequel to The Killing Tree, The Killing Dolls.
You'll shoot your eye out.
So my favorite movie, which if you've read my book, you know it's The Wizard of Oz, is what I'll always say. But that's not what I'm going to talk about here, because The Wizard of Oz is a feel-good movie, and I do love to watch it around this time of year. But musicals in general are also something, especially I was just having a hankering to watch the West Side Story, and because that's one of the best musicals ever made, and it makes you cry, and it just felt like such a good thing to do today. But I didn't get a chance to watch it. But what's coming out relating to my Wizard of Oz love is Wicked. So I finally get to talk about Wicked as a movie. I'm so excited about this. We are having a countdown. I might start posting on socials again about different Wizard of Oz adaptations. But the really exciting thing for me about Wicked is that I was just at Charloz, and I actually got to see the author of Wicked speak for an hour and a half. It was so cool. He's amazing. See, look at that. I got his autograph and everything. I'm showing off my Gregory Maguire autograph. So Wicked came from obviously an adaptation of The Wizard of Oz by Gregory Maguire, released in 95, I believe, is when he released the first book. It's the Wicked, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West. And then he released two more, and Son of a Witch. And this one I'd never actually wound up reading, The Lion Among Men. Phenomenally successful. He's done a ton of books. He's done other stuff Oz related. So he's brilliant. And listening to him speak confirmed everything about what I feel about Wicked. But when I went to the musical, I've seen the musical twice. When I went to the musical, it just blew me away. You're afraid when you watch something like The Wizard of Oz that you love so much, and you go see an adaptation, and many of them are horrifying. And then you go see, what is this going to be like? It was moving. I cry. I think Courtney and I have that in common. We just can't stop. It's the experience and the music and the themes. And if you don't know about the themes in Wicked, it came out in 2003, and it's now being produced as a movie now. And there's a theme that comes from the beginning of the creation of Wicked that's really important, and I'll talk about that in a second. But everything about it, the way they did it, the way they captured it, the way they captured the books, he said it's not exactly right, but he let him go, and it's kind of created its own thing. That is what he talked about. It's its own thing now. It's not his anymore. And it's phenomenal. And when she rises up into the air during that song, what was that?
Defying Gravity.
In Defying Gravity, when she rises up.
Stop.
You just, it's so empowering, whether you're a witch or not. But if you're into witchcraft and you're into The Wizard of Oz, it's probably the most empowering moment. And why it's so empowering is there's this character for people like me who the Wicked Witch of the West was fascinating. People loved Glinda. She's wonderful, but for me, it was the Wicked Witch of the West. There they are. They were trying to stage the playbill there. They were busy. But if you love that Wicked Witch, the way he gives her power, the way he redefines her and gives her a backstory is so empowering. And True. She rises up in that song. They could not have done that better. And it's giving this witch, this character that was so hated, a backstory. and you love her so much in such an amazing way, better than Darth Vader's backstory, better than the Joker's backstory, better than Maleficent's backstory. Gregory Maguire did it best in my mind, but I'm biased because I love The Wizard of Oz. But what's important here is that I always had a suspicion the themes in this movie in Wicked are about bullying, about oppression, about being different, about being cast aside and demonized for your difference, about standing up to oppression and patriarchy. These are all political. There's deep political themes in the book. All of them don't come out in the musical, but they come out in the book. It's deeply political, and how a patriarchal demagogue can make innocent people follow his path and go harm somebody that harm somebody that doesn't need to be harmed. I'm making a point here, and maybe so this is all embedded in this actual book, and then he wrote this in 2000 and released it in 95, and I always had a suspicion there was a reason for it. If you guys have listened to me, you know what 1995 is for us as a culture. It was right at the end of what? The Satanic Panic. And a lot of people were being oppressed. It was after the AIDS epidemic. It was after the oppression of witches and difference and moral panic and demonization of the LGBT community and all these things. He wrote this in response to that. And he said that on stage. And I was like, oh my goodness, he just confirmed what I believed. This was written in response to the Satanic Panic and the everything that came with it. He wrote this beautiful book. It was turned into a musical, of course, in the 2003, which would make sense because that was at the end of when witches were popular. And of course, Broadway decided to get in on the deal. But now it's being released as a movie, and it's going to capture more of the politics than the original musical did. And I think that's really telling. Why is it coming out now? So that's my lecture and speech about Wicked. It is so amazing. It is so beautiful. It's about friendship. It's about magic. It has a great cast, and I cannot wait. I am going to be crying. So I'm going to be impossible the week it comes out. I'm going to be impossible. I'm already impossible.
I must say, I was just gifted. This is an official Wicked 40-ounce Stanley mug.
Oh my goodness.
That's hers though. That's Glinda's, I'm assuming.
Yeah, this is Glenda's. I have Glenda's. Oh, no, my friend has the green one.
Why is nobody talking about the Gladiator 2 sequel though? I mean, that to me is just as iconic, and I'm so down with seeing Maximus's son do some stuff to upset the Roman Empire, because that too is about fighting, clearly, because it's about gladiators.
Okay, Jason, you can do that as your movie tonight. I am doing Wicked.
You know that I just, I couldn't even get through that with a straight face, right? My wife has already told me we're going to see Wicked.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Mother. Beautiful.
She has a broom. I don't know what she did with it. I don't know what she did with her broom, but she has one. She's rising up here after that statement. She's defying gravity.
I always loved the Wicked Witch. I always loved her. And there was it was pulled from the air, but there was a brilliant scene, not from, of course, Wicked, but with Margaret Hamill on Mr. Rogers.
Uh-huh.
And it was pulled from the air early on, but now you can watch it on YouTube. And she says, well, Glenda is a pretty witch, and she wears her fluffy little pink dress, but some witches wear a black dress, and they wear a black cape, and they wear a black hat, and sometimes they'll cackle, ha 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 ha. But it was so sweet. It was so sweet, that little scene.
I'm excited this year for Wicked and when it's coming out, because I think we talked about this on our episode that we did of Wizard of Oz, that I don't love Wizard of Oz, but I love the memory that I have of Wizard of Oz, which is Thanksgiving never has been my favorite holiday. And one year my mom surprised us and took us to the movies. And because movies are so magical, I've never forgotten that. And then when Nathan and I started making our own traditions, we skip Thanksgiving dinner and we go to the movies every year. And that's what we do. And this year, the Thanksgiving movie is Wicked. And we just saw it together, the stage show. And it was, I knew nothing about the story. I'd never read the book. I only knew 2 songs, but I knew I was going to cry because I get goosebumps when I hear Defying Gravity. And as you know, Heather, I'm sure knows, we're just so proud of the people on stage that like I can't not cry. But what I did not expect, it happened, right? And I, again, knowing nothing about the show, I was snotting. Like, it was not cute. It was gross. I was tears streaming down my face. The song happens, she's up in the air, and then boom, the curtain closes and the act is over and the lights come on. And I'm like I didn't even get a chance to wipe my eyes. And then everyone that I was with looked at me and started laughing. And you know, but it was beautiful and I loved it and it was great. And I can't wait to see the movie. And I'm excited that it's like a cycle is coming to a close. Like it's come full circle. And this year, that's the Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah. I want to say that at the stage play, my mom is on the other side. My mom is deceased. And I'm a medium. I talk to everybody's dead, everybody, their mother. I could not talk to my mom. My mom wouldn't come to me. I'm sure it's my own issues, of course. We, too close. But, and it had been a long time. I was watching Wicked. I was at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood, and there next to me sat my mom for the first time. I'm like,
oh,
she was a musical theater actor and singer, and she loved my whole witch thing, and that's the first time she showed up.
Aww.
Wow.
I love that.
That's
My
beautiful.
mother comes to see me quite frequently, who is also, there's the scene.
Yes.
So my mother is on the other side, but I never liked Thanksgiving either. I never liked it. It was too noisy. Whether it be autism or ADHD or whatever it may be, it was too much stimulation. But the one thing that I do remember, Wizard of Oz is not my favorite film, but I did like the music. And I remember watching it with my mother when I was a kid, and she would always wait for that scene when Dorothy opens the door in Oz and she steps out into the Technicolor world. Mm-hmm. And my mother would say, no, just watch. And I said, how did they do that? Did they? And mother said, well, it's movie magic.
It is.
It is movie magic.
Yep. My grandmother used to say the same thing to me when we used to watch old movies. And I remember her saying something similar at that scene, because it was just like when you're a little girl and you're sitting with your grandma and, you hear her talk about it or whatever. It's just like, oh, yes, this is amazing. Oh, gosh. It just brings back memories. Oh, there goes her hat. It clearly never left me. I met someone really interesting, though, at Oz. I mean, I met a lot of cool people at Oz. At the Charles Oz, one who's restoring the old movies, the old silents. And I tell you what, when you get someone to restore an old silent and you get a good person playing the music on the piano live, it is almost like it is as engaging as watching current movies. It was so much fun to watch that. It was like a 20-minute short of one of the original Oz movies from 1913. It was amazing, and I hope he continues to get the funding to do that. And I also met another witch who maybe we'll get on the show at some time, who actually is on the board of the International Oz Society, and she plays the Wicked Witch of the West for her company.
Wow.
For her company, where she does that. They actually come to parties and shows and events as the characters from the Wizard of Oz, and she plays the Wicked Witch of the West, and she's a fascinating, interesting person. So and so that would having her on, if we ever do a Wizard of Oz thing again, would be kind of fun. She had got an interest, and she is a witch. So yeah. And yes, Rob, the Wiz is cool too.
Yeah.
I have a fashion history about the pointed hat, actually, that I just learned the other day. so it does factor in traditional witchery, the pointed hat, but it actually goes back to the 1600s to the Quakers. The Quakers were a group of religious people that were rejected by mainstream Catholics, mainstream Protestants. And these Quakers did not have pastors, they did not have priests, they didn't have any sort of ecumenical learning. No one went to a seminary. They would gather in these rooms and they would sit quietly and they would meditate on God or on things that were above. And they would wait until the Spirit of God would move upon them. And whether you were male or female, it didn't matter. You could stand up and you could preach. You would give the day's lesson and whatever was on your heart. And so these Quaker women wore a hat that was not dissimilar from the witch hat, because they were seen as witches. They were outside of the norm. They were the periphery. But it was an empowering movement for women.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
Thank you.
The funny thing, though, I will kind of deviate from the hat to the shoes. So the pointed boots are really funny because they're called the devil's claws.
Mm-hmm.
There were long pointy-toed shoes with a block heel. These were popular fashion of the day, but they were called devil's claws because the long pointy toe and the heel prevented you from saying your prayers. You couldn't genuflect and say your prayers because your pointy toes would prevent. So the church had banned pointy-toed shoes.
So they became witch shoes. Wow.
Can I say something that is going to get me in trouble, and I'm probably going to get hexed by Heather and Courtney for saying this? So I saw Wicked like at a show, like a production, not a Broadway show, but it was when I lived in Lansing, and it was at our place that showed musicals and stuff, right? And I had never been to one before, and at the time I didn't like musicals. And I remember when I was done, I looked at Ari and I said, I thought that they probably would talk a little bit and not sing the entire time. And it was a criticism, and I got in trouble for saying that to my now wife, and I think I slept on the couch that night. So, so Wicked brings up things in me because of that particular moment in my life. And now I like musicals, and I'm going to go see it in the theater, and I'm very excited to go see it in the theater. But I felt like I had to confess my ignorance.
I don't speak for them, but I feel like I could understand. I think the hex is revoked.
Yeah.
I'll let the ladies know. I don't know.
I'm okay with it, Jason. I'm not going to hex you over it, because people do have problems with musicals, because either they complain if the music is constant, like Les Mis, like a little operetta, where the music doesn't stop, which is similar to what you're talking about. And Les Miserables is probably one of the best musicals ever made, but the music doesn't stop. And then others don't like it when that does stop, and all of a sudden they break into song, and then they're talking, and then it breaks into song. So people don't like that style. It's just some musicals aren't for everybody. I can tell you safely that I love every single musical ever made, and I like all forms of musicals. And if we keep talking, I may become more impossible. So I'm going to be quiet right now.
And Heather,
I love musicals almost, if not more, than movies, because I
like them now though, and I'm the one who's like, we should go see a musical. So
I feel
completely changed.
I
but
think
at
you're
the time,
safe.
I wasn't there.
I think you're safe from my hex too, because I feel like you paid your penance and you learned your lesson.
Yes.
Thank you.
And we've moved on. So thank you for the confession. Let that, just the weight come off your shoulders. You're safe. But if you ever say that about Wicked again, we're gonna have a problem.
Yes, ma'am.
Heather,
Yes, ma'am. I'll be good.
Heather, you mentioned Les Mis, and you know what they say about Les Mis? Les Mis as lame does.
Oh my God.
I love you, Richard Lau.
Not
on.
every musical though is redeemable, because I have watched the movie version of Cats.
Okay. Give me the butthole cut. Where is the butthole cut of Cats?
Yeah.
I need to watch it, because that would be the only redeeming quality of that movie musical. I, as a fan of musicals, I feel like I have not yet seen one that I don't like either, including Evil Dead the musical, where they threw Kool-Aid at me. It was great. It was glorious. I would like to see it again. So, and I went to the movies once. None of you will be surprised by this. I went to the movies. You know how they do the showings of the Broadway musicals at the movies?
Mm-hmm.
I went and saw Titanic the musical.
Oh,
Wow.
Wow.
I cried. I bawled my eyes out. It was beautiful.
were you surprised by the ending?
No, I wasn't. I knew it was
Okay.
coming.
All right, I'm just checking.
Right. Thank you. All right. And moving on, we're doing good tonight on all our different movies. Who wants to go next? Jason?
Sure, I'll go next. So when I'm having a bad day, and I think my wife feels the same way, we throw on the Lord of the Rings movies. We love the Lord of the Rings movies so much because we read fantasy books, and that it was the first time a great fantasy novel had truly been brought to life. And that's the scene right there in Fellowship of the Ring when I'm having a bad day. And today I watched that and I cried a little bit because it makes me feel so good. The Shire is so beautiful. The Howard Shore score, oh my God, it just takes my heart and just lifts it out of my body. And there's such joy in that scene. The interplay between Ian McKellen and Elijah Wood as Gandalf and Frodo is magnificent. Ian Holm is Bilbo Baggins. He's terrific in the movie. And those 20 minutes or 30 minutes if you watch the extended cut, which goes just on and on and on, and I love it so much. Yeah, that makes me feel good. That music makes me feel good. That beautiful scene in New Zealand, that beautiful grass, all of that green growing stuff makes me feel so good. In the extended cut, when they talk about what hobbits truly like, and they talk about food and they talk about alcohol, but then they say hobbits like growing things. And I love that too. You know, the idea that we get better if we grow, if we progress, and if we're outside a little bit and do a little stuff in nature, or at least a field. And then of course the other movies are great too, and every bit about them is great. I can never say enough about them. But I will not talk about the Hobbit movies because those are not a part of this equation. but the Lord of the Rings movies are a part of the equation. Yeah, that scene right there. You shall not pass. Oh my God, so great. So great.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? I don't. Yeah. Okay. So
I agree. I'll just chime in and just say I agree with Jason. I think it probably is one of the first times that a book that's this complicated of a fantasy series was successfully made into just beautiful, powerful films that were also successful. That does not happen frequently.
No, they mess it up. They dumb it down too much, or they try to overdo it a little bit. And Peter Jackson and the team of writers got it just right. They moved some things around a little bit, and got rid of some characters and made some characters bigger. But I think that the movies are better than the books because Tolkien's writing style just doesn't appeal to me as much. But the way the movies are paced and the people in the movies, the actors, they're all so good. And Galadriel at the beginning of the movie, oh my God, Cate Blanchett's voice, it's like being in a warm blanket. It's just I can just do that. Yeah.
Am I mistaken or not? I think I heard somewhere that the Lord of the Rings was somewhat inspired by the Ring Cycle by Richard Wagner.
Absolutely. Yes.
That's what I thought that it was.
But also Tolkien was trying to find a national myth for Britain, which didn't really have a national myth. So that's one of the reasons he wrote those books. And in a way, he kind of succeeded because those stories are probably better known now than Celtic mythology. And, and also he loved languages. And a lot of the whole thing about Lord of the Rings is creating languages for the elves and the orcs. He was quite the nerd, just, super nerdy. So if you're a nerd, of course you like Lord of the Rings movies. And of course, who doesn't mind Orlando Bloom?
I have a confession to make.
Okay.
I've only seen 1.5 Lord of the Rings movies. I knew it was coming.
I too have a confession to make. I have never seen any one of them full, but I've seen clips.
Oh, I knew that
Patti
was.
Negri, you're going to come into this one?
I've probably seen one. Good.
I knew it was bad. I talked about it, and then Patty's like, "Okay, we can move on now." You know, like I knew that these movies had not been seen by everyone.
But you had
Wait.
the enthusiasm for all of us, Jason. You had the enthusiasm for all of us.
I would like to speak up. I've seen them at least 2 or 3 times each, maybe not as many as Jason, and my kids read all the books as well. So like we have a Lord of the Rings fandom here, a little one, not as much as Jason, but I am happy to watch those movies with anybody if they feel they're really just beautiful and you just sink into them.
Ari
You know?
just came home, and I'm like thinking I should just call her into the room for backup. And you know,
No.
oh,
I got you
my-
back.
oh.
For what it's worth, I watched the first one in its entirety and I love it. I'm obsessed with it and I'm committed to watching the other two. And that's the problem why I haven't watched them, because I don't feel like I have had the right headspace and the right time to sit down and give them the attention that they deserve, because they're so long.
I love you, Tab.
And I love it. I love it, but it will come. The time will come.
And to me, these are also Christmas movies because they all came out during the holidays. So, like, if I have a Christmas playlist, there's stuff from Lord of the Rings on there. And I'll also tell you this. I feel like I'm like now stealing all of everybody's time. But the first one came out and I saw it with Ari and it was great and it made us so happy. Second movie, we were fighting when it came out and we did not see it together. And it made me cry a lot. We did not see it together and we were fighting. And then the third movie came out and we were together and we have not been apart since. But you know, this was like all of our relationship in a small microcosm in Lord of the Rings. Yeah. Yeah. And then like we love these movies so much. Like when the extended editions came out, like we like ran to Best Buy, which was a thing at the time because you didn't stream stuff, and like would watch the extended editions, and they were like on a constant loop in our living room. We've probably seen these 24 times. God, I'm getting really emotional. I love them. Just love them so much. So much.
Thank you. All right. Richard Lael.
Yes. So everyone is going to say my favorite guilty film is The Addams Family, and they would be right to a point, but I have a lot of old spooky house favorites. And one of my guilty pleasures is The Ghost and Mr. Chicken, starring the incorrigible Don Knotts. And it was based off of an old Andy Griffith episode where one of Opie's balls from baseballs goes into an abandoned house, and then Barney Fife goes in to sort of find this missing baseball, and along the way he thinks the house is haunted, and it's actually not haunted. It's actually there's a criminal. So they thought that the studios got together. They thought that it was a brilliant idea. They even used a lot of the same cast from the Andy Griffith show, and there's a witch connection. Dick Sargent is there from Bewitched fame, and it's a story about a man who goes into a haunted house, and there's sliding panels and bloody scissors stabbed into a neck, and an organ that plays all by itself. Bum, 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 bum. And the funniest thing, Vic Mizzy, who did the soundtrack for The Addams Family, he would never play that organ scene because he said it was cursed. He would never play that music live. He never, ever played it. After he recorded it, never played it again. Also, another kind of funny note that I love about it is that the house that is the Simmons mansion is they use the tower as the Bates mansion.
Mm-hmm.
And it also is the neighboring house on the Universal Studios backlot to the Munster Mansion. So this movie encompasses everything that I love. It's so silly, and of course Don Knotts is funny, but then he's not romantic. He's awkward, and he's odd, and he's strange. And you think that the girl is going to go for the good-looking newspaper man and not the typesetter. And you find at the end that she actually is very much in love with Don Knotts because he has shown bravery and courage. And it's just funny, and it just makes me laugh. And I love the haunted house aspect of it. It was, as a kid, it was the house I always wanted. I always fantasized that I would have those sliding panels and an organ that played by itself. So it's my cookies, I think I like to say.
Oh, have not seen that one.
No, I haven't seen this one either, but this is going to be on my short list to watch now. Don Knotts is so fun.
Even just watching the trailer is great because it's the trailer's clever and funny just by itself.
It's so clever. It is so funny. And in fact, Courtney, this is something that you would do because it became one of the most quotable films. What was it? 1960, 66, I think. It was, and the major thing that was quoted in this film was "Attaboy." Oh gosh, what was his name? He says "Attaboy," and it was just some random person in the crowd. It wasn't even scripted, and that was the thing that everyone would "Attaboy." Oh gosh, I'm drawing a blank. I just watched the film tonight, but my mind is everywhere. So, but it's adorable. It's just adorable.
I am gonna have to watch this one.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, and I now desperately need to watch it.
Yes.
It's so wholesome. Like, yes, there may or may not be a ghost. Yes, there is a murder that takes place, and it's an old haunted house. But it's just wholesome. It's just so sweet. It has so many funny little moments. And then, of course, Don Knotts, who is amazing. I loved him in everything he ever did, even though he always played the same character, whether it be in Scooby-Doo or whether it be on the Andy Griffith Show. He always played that character.
That's good. Thank you. All right. Well, we probably don't have movie quotes.
Well, I did my Nicole Kidman quote. I can do it again if anybody missed it.
Yeah.
Hold on. Let me pull it up again. Let's see.
We
come
come
to this place for magic. Hold on. We come to AMC theaters to laugh, to cry, to care. Because we need that, all of us, that indescribable feeling we get when the lights begin to dim and we go somewhere we've never been before. Not just entertained, but somehow reborn together. Dazzling images on a huge silver screen. Sound that I can feel. Somehow, heartbreak feels good in a place like this. Our heroes feel like the best part of us, and stories feel perfect and powerful because here they are. AMC theaters, we make movies better. Thank you. I am Nicole Kidman, but it is what it is.
That is beautiful. Now, I know we don't have a movie to have a Mankey Movie Minute, but our beautiful producer, Rob, pulled out some of our favorite Mankey Movie Minutes, again, to make us feel better today, to give us some entertainment and lightness today. Do you want to pick which Mankey Movie Minute we put on, Jason?
I think we're going to do the Killing Tree because that's the one Courtney talked about. And this will be great. I've never watched a Mankey Movie Minute. I just read them and never see your faces. So I'm very excited about this.
All right.
That answers the question. Can a possessed Christmas tree drive a car? Welcome to the oddest Christmas season in the history of England, a time of year when everyone is mostly in coats, but two horny 20-somethings strip down the bathing suits for an extended makeout session by the pool. England is, of course, known for its great December weather. Meet the Killing Tree, a tree inhabited by the soul of a mass murderer whose only real crime was fighting against the commercialization of Christmas. This dude was apparently murdering people for not celebrating Christmas properly. I'm sure Jesus would have been down with that. Watch as the killing tree grows and shrinks depending on the circumstances. Seriously, is this tree 2 stories tall, 5 feet tall? And dude, I can see your hands in the costume. It's like Mom crying now. Experience a film full of people talking because no one wants to pay for the special effects needed to elevate this film from a 1 to a 2. Watch as characters are torn in half and then 2 minutes later seen running for their lives. Tremble in fear as the killing tree wonders if another Christmas tree is his wife, and then throws that tree to the ground when he realizes his tree humping will not be reciprocated. And just when you think the film can't possibly get any worse, the killing tree faces off with an angel tree in a battle between good and evil Christmas trees. This was so out of left field, I almost liked it for half a second. Ever see a Transformers movie and wonder if things can get any worse? The killing tree proves it can. But as the light of Christmas Day shines down upon some of the main characters, and their night of pine-filled terror officially ends, they vow to start anew, never mentioning their dead friends who were alive just a few hours ago. Even more surprisingly, the cast and crew used their real names in the end credits. The killing tree will make you scared of Christmas trees, but it might make you scared to ever watch another film, ever again.
Yay!
I did nail that one. Like, I didn't even stumble over a word. So thank you. It was a good one.
You
to
nail
do.
all of them.
So-
You nail all of them.
Mhm.
So anyway, all right. We don't have a movie to vote on, or we could vote who was the favorite of the movies, or
It's obviously the killing tree that wins.
That wins. Killing tree, hands down. Hands down. Wands, maybe at an angle.
Richard Lale.
So do we want to ones up on something?
One's up on us.
Ones
Yeah.
up on us.
One's up on us.
One's up for the coven.
Okay. And you guys, you can have this too.
Bling Phillip. One's up for Bling Phillip.
And coming soon are Witches Movie Coven wands, mini wands, along with Black Phillip and Bling Phillip, the goat of goats.
Can I leave us with 2 quotes from Wicked?
We would love that.
Yeah.
First one is she sings, "The fear that once controlled me won't get to me at all." And then she says, "Everyone deserves a chance to fly." So those are my messages to everyone from Wicked tonight.
Thank
you. I just sang that in my head. And I almost
Me
got
too.
emotional about it. I almost cried.
Just stop, Courtney. We are not allowed in the same theater together.
We have to. I mean, we have to.
And we have to have the cameras rolling.
Yeah. Oh, Juan's up for snotting for Wicked.
Wands up for Wicked. Wands up for us. We came here today. We know that this was a weird day for a lot of people. I guess a good day for a lot of people, but not the best day for a lot of us. So, but what we do is we go on and we find the humor and we stand for what we want to stand for and we move forward. That's all I have to say. Anybody else have anything to say?
Richard Lale, can we shake it off?
Shake it off?
Yes.
Scared and Alone. Can we do a little...
Oh, well, I guess we could do that too. I thought you were doing a Taylor Swift thing. I don't know.
No, I'm not a Swiftie.
Well,
Yeah,
then yes,
let's
we can
take
do
it
that.
off.
We can do that breathing technique where we sit up nice and tall. I feel that the major thing that when people get anxious is that they stiffen their bodies and it really hurts. If you're rigid, it hurts. So instead you want to sit up nice and tall, feet firmly on the floor, palms up, and we'll take 3 deep cleansing breaths, inhaling through the nose, holding it, and exhaling out of the mouth. Here we go. It helps you just to reconnect with who you are, to come back to your body, to come back to who you really are on the inside.
Thank you. It was beautiful.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Does anybody have anything coming up that they want to talk about?
It doesn't feel like it's the
I
time,
know.
does it?
Next week.
Next week.
Next week. So come back next week.
Did I
For
want to yell
Poltergeist,
Maximus
right?
one more time? But no, that even feels wrong.
Yeah. Are we gonna
Are
count?
We can cackle.
We could cackle. Witches cackle. We should cackle.
Which is
Let's
kind of
cackle. Let's do the hell of a cackle. Okay. Here we go.